Hey, I'm Warren Maddox with Chainsaw Dogs. I'm a certified sawyer by the Forest Service, and today we're going to talk about felling a tree. So before I go in with the saw, the first thing I do is go through a little acronym, and tons of people teach this differently. The one I was taught was OHLEC, or O-H-L-E-C. What that means is objective. My objective is to fell this tree and go home safely today. I'm going to consider any hazards around. This one is a relatively hazard-free tree other than the fact that it's dead, but we will keep that into consideration. We also want to think about the lean of the tree. This one's relatively straight up and down, so I don't really need to compensate in my cut for that. My escape plan, we're going to be felling towards the road, so I've got two 45-degree escape routes, which is perfect. And then we want to have a cut plan. I'm going to go with a classic open face cut and then chase the hinge using wedges. We're going to have the rope as a backup. We're not going to pull the tree down with the rope because we don't want it to, for some reason, start sitting back. So I'll try to get a wedge in as soon as I can to protect me as the sawyer, and we'll wedge it over with the rope as a backup. So before I just start cutting at the tree, I need to do some math to figure out what the appropriate cuts that need to be made. So the first thing I want to do is I've actually measured out the distance of my thumb and pinky. Mine's about 7.5 inches. And that to me, it looks like about 8. I want to figure out how deep I want to make my face cut. We want to go about 80% of the diameter, or almost halfway. The problem with saying almost halfway is people typically cut further than they think they're going to do, so this math can actually really help you out. So we're going to do 80% of that 8 inches. We're going to make it a little bit easier by figuring out the stump shot, which is the amount you want to cut above when you do your back cut. And so that stump shot is actually only 10%. 10% of 8, that's easy. So 0.8, and then you want 20% left for your hinge wood, which is what controls your tree. So that's easy, times 2, so 1.6. And then we'll do 8 minus 1.6 to get our 80%, right? So 100% minus 20%, which is that hinge, leaving us at that 80%. So 8 minus 1.6, 6.8. No. After checking with our math wizards, we have arrived at 6.4. So that's going to go in 80%. What we want left from our back cut is 20%. That's what's going to control our tree. And then to protect ourselves from the tree falling back on us or sitting on our saw, giving it a little bit more weight going this way towards our felling direction, is that stump shot, though how much we're going to rise it for our back cut, and that is at 10%. First, we'll start with the face cut. Some people like to do this different. I like to start with my top cut using the gunning sights of my saw. You want to cut down at a 60-degree angle. To really aim where you want it to go. I'm also going to keep my eye towards the top of the tree to make sure that there's not any movement and make sure that there's no dead limbs coming down. Tree falling, back cut. So you know you've done a good job safely felling a tree based on what your stump looks like and how it went over. So you can look here at the stump. We've got a nice fat hinge just before the heartwood. So this heartwood is where it's weakest. You can see our hinge is right before that, so it looks like we did good there. We've got a nice flat face cut, so as it came down, you know, it didn't go anywhere crazy. It looks like it rolled just a little bit. If you see people dropping trees and they're trying to get it to go a certain direction, it goes way left or way right, that's probably because their hinge is like a pie cut. See, my wedge stayed right in place. We were wedging it from the side once we had one in the back because that actually gives us the most lift on these small wedges, which is really nice. The reason I personally like to wedge them over is, one, that's just the way I was taught. There's plenty of ways to drop a tree. I find it's nice and safe because I can get my saw out of the way and off versus all of a sudden the tree taking my saw with it, which we all really like our saws and don't like that to happen.